definitely a move in the right direction, and the numbers have come down fourfold since the peak in January in Grampian. So that's great news, and thanks. Everyone's done their bit, and it really is paying off. Lockdown has definitely made a huge difference. But cast your mind back 5 months to September and compare the numbers now with then, and actually we're still very much higher than we need to be for any changes to take place. So if we think about the numbers, the 7-day numbers now, we're looking at about 300 or so over a 7-day period. Back in September, that number was about 44. So we're still much higher than we would want to be, but it's definitely a move in the right direction, and we're really pleased for that. And of course, we do compare really well with the rest of Scotland. Our rates are about half that of elsewhere in Scotland. So good news, but still more to do.
And of course, we know that the long-term ambition will be to completely drive down the prevalence as much as possible. But in terms of a more short-term ambition, would you say that September numbers are really where you want to look to be targeting at the moment?
Yeah, that was our best position, really. The back end of the summer was when our numbers were at their lowest. And then, of course, the inevitable happened, didn't it? So things began to open up, people began to go on their holidays, and schools returned, and things started to pick up. So when we think back to the lessons learnt when the numbers were low, we need to remember what the impact will be when things start to open up again. And it feels inevitable that you will get some rises as things start to open up, particularly if schools start to open again shortly, as we're all hoping that they will do. But that, of course, will need to be a very managed situation, a managed transition, and we'll need to watch the numbers very carefully on the back of that.
So then obviously you mentioned people going away on their holidays. That's where we maybe start to see the numbers going up. So are you hopeful that some of these measures that are now being brought in, that this summer hopefully we can avoid quite as much of a rise, and less people will be potentially going abroad and just really playing it safe?
Yes, I think so. I mean, the managed isolation, the changes that have been brought in over the past couple of weeks, and then more so today, will definitely help. How long that will continue, we just simply don't know. But we're putting in place an infrastructure that allows us to start thinking about our lives back together again. But my sense is that we should be thinking about a holiday period in this country, a holiday time in this country, rather than thinking about going abroad, because the danger is, of course, it's not just the inconvenience to people coming back and having to quarantine. The danger is, of course, that we bring in more transmissible viruses and strains into the country, and we just simply can't afford to go there, particularly after all the great work that we've done in vaccination.
And of course, on vaccination, I know NHS Grampian passed 100,000 last week. So how pleased are you about how it's been going? And is the uptake quite good as well? Are people quite willing to come forward for this?
Yeah, I think the uptake has been greater, has been better than we thought. So that's fantastic news. And that's across Scotland. And obviously, there are well publicised groups of people who are less keen on having the vaccine. But overall, the uptake has been particularly high. We've passed a milestone number. And by all accounts today, we've hit the target that the Scottish Government had set. I know from thinking about what's happened in Grampian over the past weekend that the amazing efforts that went into getting people to vaccination centres, whether it was staff or people being vaccinated, it was heroic, nothing short of heroic. The numbers were high and people really did their best. Everyone made a fantastic effort. So I think we've done super well. We've vaccinated over 100,000 people in Grampian, whilst still continuing to manage a lot of people in hospital during the winter period and people with COVID as well. So I think the efforts have been really, really heroic.